Good morning, little nerds. I am Dr. Shereene Idriss. Welcome to Pillow Talk Derm. I am a board-certified dermatologist where we do this every Saturday at 10 a.m. Today, we are going to be covering the 10 best skincare hacks for the skin of your face, your body, and your scalp. Last week, we did the sunscreen roundup. I will link it below. But given that I was just in Miami and I nearly melted in the heat and suffocated because of the humidity, I figured this would be a timely video given that we are kicking summer off today, at least here in the US. If you've not subscribed, subscribe below. And if you haven't followed me yet on Instagram, follow me on Instagram because I have a broadcast channel properly entitled Nerds, because that is what you are. And I will be interacting with you guys on this channel, asking you to vote pretty much every week for a topic to see what it is that you guys are interested about learning more for next week. So make sure to be a part of that group. In the meantime, thank you Derm Store for sponsoring this portion of the video, where they have a summer sale happening right now, and some of the products I'm about to mention are on their website for up to 20% off when you use the code SUN. So without further ado, let's jump in. Number one skincare hack is how to reapply your sunscreen, because this is a question you guys ask me every single time I do a Pillow Talk Derm, and there seems to be some confusion in the marketplace. It's not a generalized answer because it depends on you and what you're doing and the environment that you are in. But as a rule of thumb, the sun is its strongest between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. So if you are somebody who's by all means avoiding the sun during those hours, don't worry so much about reapplying sunscreen. You probably will be okay without reapplying it, given that you live in a cave without any windows or any sort of direct exposure to sunlight. But that is probably not who you are. And the reality is you're probably somewhere in the middle. You live in a city and you are somebody who gets exposed lightly throughout the day to the sun. You can reapply sunscreen by using a sunscreen powder. A convenient way to reapply sunscreen when you're on the go. And what do I mean by on the go? You're living in a city, you're going from meeting to meeting, you're gonna go pick up your lunch, you're gonna go say hi to a friend, but you're not spending enormous amounts of time outside. You're more rushing between building to building to building to building, probably sitting in some shady part of the park and not necessarily sitting underneath direct sunlight. It's not enough to use this as your main source of sunscreen, and it's not enough to use this when you're reapplying, let's say, while gardening or at the beach. But it definitely is enough to do something while you're out and about, going from place to place. Sunscreen powders are usually made up of mineral sunscreens. The three that I'm about to talk to you guys are all made up of mineral sunscreens. With that, mineral sunscreens are usually white. That is their chemistry, and therefore you're never going to find darker tints when it comes to sunscreen powders, unfortunately. But they're easy to carry and you can easily use them above makeup. And the second hack is that if you're extra sweaty, it kind of does pick up that sweat for you and helps dry you out. The other hack though is you want to wash the brush, especially if it doesn't come off. I use my soft wash to clean my makeup brushes, and I use my soft wash now to clean this, allowing it to dry overnight before I close it and pop it back into my bag. This one is by Isden. It's their facial powder SPF 50. Like I said, it's titanium and zinc. It's $60. It only comes in one shade, whereas Color Science has it for $69, same SPF, a mixture of titanium and zinc, and it comes in 4 shades. Most are on the lighter side of the spectrum because, like I mentioned, it is white. The chemistry, the chemicals, titanium, zinc are white, so it's hard to make them darker. Supergoop also has their resetting mineral powder for $35. This is their SPF 35 with 4 shades as well. I will link them all below for your viewing pleasures. Here at the beach though, sunscreen powders are not going to be enough for you. Do not be fooled. Maybe you can use them to pick up some of that sweat, but do not be fooled by thinking that you're getting adequate protection by using those powders. I like to reapply sunscreen at the beach, and I know this is going to be controversial, but with a spray. I have 2 little kids who are 4 and 6. They move like fish out of the water, and I need to catch them, and I need to catch them fast. So I want to make sure that I can see the sunscreen that I'm spraying on them, and so that I can apply it at least evenly as they move around. So Kula has a mineral body spray for $32, SPF 30. That is a mineral spray. Zinc oxide at 14.2%. It does not have titanium. It is a broad spectrum UVA, UVB. It is water resistant, but water resistant mists means the product continues to provide sun protection even when the skin is exposed to water. But if you're constantly exposed to water, you must reapply. Nothing is waterproof. And if the general rule of thumb is reapplying every 2 hours, if you're jumping in and out of a pool or the ocean, you probably want to reapply every time you come out for like a little bit, because you need to make sure that you're getting the protection there and you haven't completely washed it off. It is comfortable. It doesn't burn the eyes, but you're gonna look like a ghost. So if you have no shame in the game, go ahead, you'll join my team. But if you have some shame in your game, then don't use this one because you're gonna be embarrassed to use it. I think it's great for kids. I can physically see where I've sprayed them, basically left my mark, but it's not necessarily for everyone. My husband gets really upset when I spray it all over his body from afar. Therefore, Supergoop has a sunscreen mist at SPF 30. This one also, by the way, has vitamin C. It is a chemical one. It is completely transparent, but the downside of this is you cannot see how much you're spraying. So if you think a little psh, this one is closed, it's brand new, goes a long way, it doesn't. You have to be going psh, where you look like you're glistening and you're causing a slipping hazard around you because the sunscreen is going all over the floor. So maybe put like a towel on the floor if you're going to go the transparent route, because you need to be putting more than you think you need. Quite frankly, do they last a long time? No. Between 3 adults, you'll probably finish this in a day if you're reapplying correctly. All right, moving on to number 2, the scalp. If you have any sort of hair thinning, and I'm not talking just about bald dudes who are white. I'm talking about tanned women who are losing hair. I'm talking about men who are losing hair regardless of your skin tone. I am talking about everybody who has a thinning of hair on their scalp. You have less density to protect the skin of your scalp. You have to be thinking about applying sunscreen on those areas if you're not wearing a hat or a baseball cap. A baseball cap, by the way, is not a hat that's going to protect you from the sun. Let's just say it. It is not a hat that is going to protect you from the sun. They are quite useless in that sense, but they do at least protect your scalp, but not your face. So don't be fooled. You use this, absolutely you can use this, knock yourself out. And maybe side note, if you use a darker shade and you are thinning, it might give a nice shadow to your scalp so it looks like it's thinning less. I mean, we can try it right now, actually, if you really want. The applications of these are kind of tough. You do have to make sure that the sunscreen is coming out. But you can literally kind of just tap it, and it can help. So if you don't want to deal with that, Supergoop actually has a sunscreen for your scalp in the form of their Poof 100 mineral part powder SPF 35, which is made up of 100% mineral SPF zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is a great ingredient when it comes to inflammation. It has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties that can calm any sort of inflammatory process, redness, itchiness, etc. Like let's say you have something happening on your scalp, it can maybe be calming and soothing, just as a side plus to it, even though that's not its intended use. It does also have silica in it, which is going to be great for gently absorbing excess oils. Number 3, morning moisturizers. Do we need them in the summer? And my answer is, for a lot of people, probably not if you're using sunscreen, because your sunscreen can double up as your moisturizer for sure, especially if you're not somebody who's extremely dry or if you don't live in a dry environment. If you live somewhere like New York City or a humid environment like Miami, you probably definitely do not need a morning moisturizer. So try to find a sunscreen that can double up as your morning moisturizer. La Roche-Posay's Tolerian Double Repair Face Moisturizer SPF 30 is a nice place to start. It is a chemical sunscreen that has ceramides and glycerin to hydrate, and there's no hyaluronic acid in this product. So this is a nice place to start. 4, how do you stay cool, calm, collected? You can also keep a facial mist on hand. A facial mist is a super helpful thing that you can have in your pocket. You can also buy a misting device from Amazon and make your own facial mist minus any sort of glycerin inside, because you maybe don't want to be holding on to too much moisture if it's very humid out. This is purely a mineral water that can help calm any inflammation that you have on your skin, but also keep you calm and hydrated, especially when it is really, really hot. And if you have rosacea, which tends to flare up in the heat, this is great, not only because it will cool you down, but the mineral waters will also be very helpful. This one is by Aven. It is their eau thermale for $19. But Vichy also has one where this is their large version. This is their travel size for $18. It's an antioxidant face mist. They both come in travel sizes as well. Pick one or the other. I know Aven traditionally has been better for people with rosacea, but both are mineral waters that can be helpful to keep your skin barrier strong, cool, calm, and less red. Number 5, when it comes to exfoliating, we're not talking just about exfoliating your face. We're also talking about exfoliating your body, because the skin of our face is obviously something now we know how to exfoliate a few times a week, but our body oftentimes lacks in that department. You want to make sure that you are slowing it down in the summer, especially if you are going out to the beach. Maybe do it once or twice a week instead of 3 to 4 times. You can use products that you use on your face for your body. This is Dr. Idriss's Flash Mask. It is an exfoliating mask with 15% glycolic acid. As well as lactic acid and tranexamic acid. You can use it on your face, but guess where else you can use it? If your elbows are dark, if your armpits are dark, if your knees are dark. Smoothing your legs, helps your stretch marks. It can help regenerate the regenerative process on the stretch marks. And if you're somebody who has KP, which is like the chicken skin on the back of the arms, you can absolutely use this for the back of the arms to help that as well, because an exfoliating acid is going to be helpful in those areas. Number 6, do we get a tan in summer? The answer should be no. We should be getting lighter and lighter and lighter as the summer progresses, but we should be faking it till we make it. Self-tanners can be a great help in that department. If you're somebody who does not like to look pasty pale, then look towards a self-tanner versus the sun. Even though self-tanners have their drawbacks, and I've talked about this in the past, they will dehydrate your skin. They will make your sunspots appear more pronounced. You will look more spotted. The reality is a fake tan is better than a real tan in terms of long-term damage. So if you can at least keep your skin hydrated while you use a self-tanner, and if you don't have that many sunspots or they don't bother you as much, power through that instead of trying to get a real tan to mask that. I recently discovered this one when I was in Miami because I had to tan my white legs. I didn't want to blind everybody. It is Saint-Tropez's Self Tan Express. It is a mousse for $46. I used it before I go on my trip, so I come back paler than when I left. You can reapply it throughout your vacation, but by then people have gotten used to seeing my legs that I actually don't care if they get lighter because they're like, there they are. Just make sure you exfoliate before using this so you apply it evenly on your body. If you have melasma, is it going to make your melasma worse? It shouldn't. It can hopefully camouflage some of it, but if you have very pronounced melasma, it can actually accentuate it. So you got to be careful. If you're like me and your melasma is dormant, it's not going to wake it up. But if your melasma is awake and evident, it will make it more obvious. Number 7, and this is a favorite of mine. I am obsessed with this, even when I travel or when I'm at home. I like to do my DIY pedicures at home because I don't go every week to the nail salon to get a pedicure. I don't have the patience or the time or quite frankly, the want to sit there and have them put nail polish on my feet and scrub my feet, and I'm extremely ticklish. So what do? I exfoliate my feet and I apply a exfoliating moisturizer on top in the form of a mask. You can use Flash Mask on your feet, sure, but I find it to be a little bit sticky and then I feel kind of stuck. Okay, because you have to wait a few minutes for it to do its thing and then wash it off. So I don't use it on my feet. Dr. Dennis Gross has these universal peel pads that I use on my feet. It's a mix of AHAs and BHAs. It's great for travel. They're small because the pack is smaller, so it could be cheaper than the original one. And it's glycolic, lactic, mandelic, and salicylic acid. So I use this in between the nooks and crannies of my feet, around my ankles, on the bottom of my feet, between my toes, you name it. I use one pad pretty much for both feet. And then my body lotion, I use as a mask on my feet. This is Isden's Uridine Lotion, Intense Hydration with 10% urea. Urea is great. So remember how I talked about KP, the chicken skin on the back of the arms, you can use the Flash Mask for? Once you've washed that off, you want to lock in the hydration with this because urea is going to keep your skin smooth and supple and soft, and it is going to also make sure that it doesn't start to reaccumulate the dead skin on those areas. So it breaks up keratin, especially thicker plaques on the feet. So then what is the mask, you ask? If I'm traveling, I'm so sorry. I know some people are gonna get upset by this, but I reuse them. A Ziploc whore. I love Ziplocs. I don't know, I love the transparency of the bag. I like to see everything that I'm packing, but I might pack an extra one or just use one. If I'm done with the product, I'll toss the product and toss the bag. But I will put moisturizer all over my feet and then put my feet in the Ziploc bag and let it sit like a mask. At home, I'll use saran wrap. I'll saran wrap my feet with a lot of the moisturizer, and this way I'll let them really soak and sit in. And if I really need to, I'll put socks above the saran wrap and create a nice foot mask for myself that either I'll leave on for an hour. If I have the patience, I'll leave it on even overnight. But your feet the next morning or the next hour or the next 30 minutes, however long you do it, I'm telling you, it works pretty fast, are so soft and smooth and supple. It's like you had the best pedicure of your life and you're using things that you could use on your face. Like you could literally use this for your face and finish it off on your feet. So you don't have to just dedicate one pad for just your feet. And you're already using this on your body. You might as well create a mask effect for your feet. Number 8, I've even done a brand partnership with this brand, but I love UV visors. I did a partnership with Bluestone. There's quite a few on the market. They're not all created equal. You want to get a quality UV visor that is blocking both UVA and UVB. They look like, you will look like a welder if you bring it all the way down, but it is a great distractor if you are into sports. Like I played tennis with it. I played tennis. I'm not a tennis player, but I attempted to play tennis with it on my face. And the only reason why I think I got as far as I did is because I was distracting my opponent, who was very confused by what was on my face. It is great. I love it because I also just leave it open. I will be at events and my visor will be over my head and I will be in the shade the whole time because my face will be protected, whereas everyone else is sweating beads on their faces or looking more speckled by the end of the barbecue. So it is amazing. It will be a conversation starter. So if you have like anxiety around crowds because you don't know how to approach people, they will approach you if you have it on. It works beautifully, okay? Should we bring another major shade, that's what I called it, visor to you maybe this year? Should we? Let me know if you guys are interested. And if so, what color would you want it? Because I am obsessed with UV visors. Number 9, another way to keep cool, and this one was in Miami. I'm gonna show you guys. Everybody got one of these at the lunch that we were in. It was a work lunch that we went to, and everyone was going like this. Your friend Shereene was not moving. And everyone looked at me like, how are you not sweating and you're not like using the fan that everybody was given? And I said, I'm not sweating because I'm not moving. All of you guys are expending energy by doing this, moving your arms, flapping them and sweating in your armpits and your face because you're trying to create more air to cool yourselves. But the reality is because I didn't move, I stayed cool and calm. And you know what I do to take that up a notch in the summer? I add a neck fan. I look like I'm wearing a massive Bose headset around my neck throughout the day, but I'm not. It is just a neck fan that is blowing air up my, not ass, my neck. It is blowing air up my neck and I am feeling delightful because usually I have my visor on top, so I'm cool from the neck up and my hair is not getting sweaty and my face is not getting overheated, and it is a beautiful thing to add to your routine. If you have melasma, if you have rosacea, I would strongly recommend you use it because you do not overheat. And yes, you can even use it at the beach and you will just be that cool, calm, collected human being that you are. And number 10, this is something that everybody should invest in, is a UPF rash guard. A UPF clothing is usually made up of tightly woven fabrics with special treatments to help protect your skin from the sun. If you see a UPF 50, it means 1/50th of the UVA and UVB rays are going to get through that fabric to reach your skin. They do not have to be ugly. They can absolutely be chic, and you do not necessarily get hot in them. A trick that I do is I usually pack 2 of them while I'm at the beach. One that I have in the beginning that I jump into the water with, and once I come out, I take it off and I put on the next one over it. It therefore does not stick to my skin. I don't feel like I overheat. They're extremely breathable and they're lightweight, surprisingly. And my body from my neck to my arms stays protected because this area from the neck to the chest, the second it gets ruined with sun damage, it's a telltale sign. Like there's no point in having a beautiful face with great skin if this part looks like it's fallen apart. So I try to protect the whole area and I don't feel like I'm burning to a crisp at the beach and I don't get irritated that way. So those are my 10 top skincare hacks for summer. Always remember, consistency is key. It's about being consistent. It's not about using that rash guard once. It's about always using it because one sunburn is going to be the end of you, trust me. And preventing hyperpigmentation is essential throughout the summer by consistently using your skincare products that are minimizing how you produce pigment. So you want a consistently targeted routine, like with the Major Fade Solution System by Dr. Idriss, or any products really that are keeping your pigmentation at bay. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Go out now and have fun while being smart in the sun. It is Memorial Day after all. It's the kickoff to summer, and I hope birds out there have a beautiful long weekend with your loved ones, all together happy and healthy. I'll see you guys next week.